All right, let's talk about those recycling labels. You know the ones. You see them on pretty much everything you buy. Today, we're going to decode what they actually mean and how to use them. So, be honest. Have you ever been standing there in front of your recycling bin, holding some plastic container and just freezing? You're wondering, does the cap come off? Do I need to rinse this thing? Does it even go in here at all?
Yeah, if that's you, you are in good company. But that confusion is actually a really big problem. It leads to something called wish cycling. When we toss things in the bin hoping they're recyclable. The trouble is, that can contaminate a whole batch of otherwise good materials, sending all of it straight to the landfill.
But what if there was a simple rule book printed right on the package itself? Well, that's exactly what these new, smarter labeling systems are. They're designed to take all that guesswork and replace it with real, actionable clarity. So, let's meet the two big players we're looking at today. For the US and Canada, you've got How2Recycle, or H2R, and over in the United Kingdom, they use OPRL, which stands for the On-Pack Recycling Label. Two different systems, same basic. Okay, so how do you actually read these things? Knowing what to look for is everything. Let's break down the instructions you'll find right there on the packaging.
The one you'll probably see the most is widely recyclable. Now, this isn't just a hopeful suggestion. It's a claim backed by data. It means a proven majority of people have access to a recycling program that can and does accept and sort that specific material.
And what does majority actually mean in, numbers? Well, in North America, they've set a specific bar. For a package to get that widely recyclable stamp in the US, at least 60% of the population needs to have access to a program that takes it. In Canada, that number is 50%. It's all based on real-world data, not just good intentions. But widely recyclable is just one piece of the puzzle. The How2Recycle system has four main categories you'll run into. You've got widely recyclable. Then there's check locally, which is exactly what it sounds like. Store drop-off, which in the US is a special category for things like plastic bags and wrap. And finally, the straightforward, not yet recyclable.
Now, here's where these labels get really useful. A lot of packaging has different parts, right? So you just follow three simple steps. First, look at the component, the bottle, the cap, the sleeve. Second, read its recycling status. And third, and this is the part people miss, follow the specific instructions, things like empty and rinse or remove sleeve. Those little details are absolutely crucial.
Okay, so you're getting the hang of it. But maybe lately you've started seeing something else on these labels, a little QR code. So what's that all about? This is a total game changer. It's the How2Recycle Pro or Plus feature. It's not just any old QR code, it's a dynamic one. You scan it, pop in your city or zip code, and it taps into a massive database of over 9,000 local programs to give you recycling instructions tailored for your specific curb. It's recycling made personal. But just when you think you've got it figured out, things get complicated. Because the rules in your town aren't the only ones that vary. The system in your country might be totally different from the one next door. Let's zoom out a bit and look at this global patchwork of rules. This patchwork creates some real headaches, especially for global grants. I mean, look at this. The US and Canada both use How2Recycle, but Canada doesn't have that store drop-off program for plastic film. The UK uses its own OPRL system, and the EU is getting ready to launch its own thing. That means the same exact product might need four totally different labels for these four markets. And the level of detail here is pretty amazing. For example, in the UK, the OPRL rules actually say that text on the label has to be at least 6-point type. I know, it sounds like a tiny, nerdy detail, but it has a huge impact on whether you can actually read the thing. It just shows you how much thought is going into making these systems work. And speaking of Europe, things are definitely changing. Right now, it's a jumble of different national rules, which is confusing. But starting around 2025 or 2026, the EU is planning to roll out new, harmonized labels across all its member states. The goal is to have one single, unified system in place by August 2026. So, with all these different systems and rules, what's our part in all this? Let's bring it back to what we can all do, both the people who design the packaging and all of us who buy it.
For the designers making this stuff, it's a pretty involved process. They have to actually plan ahead and save space on the package for these labels. Then they have to validate that the material structure is actually recyclable based on strict criteria. And of course, they have to plan for all those regional versions we just talked about. A whole lot of work goes in before it ever hits a shelf.
And what about us? What's our mission? It really comes down to a few key things. Read the whole label for every single component. Follow those little instructions. They matter. If you see a QR code, scan it. And remember, check locally is a call to action. It means your area might not take it. But the biggest rule of all, never, ever wish cycle. When in doubt, leave it out.
So, that brings us to the big question. We're seeing smarter labels, powered by real data and cool tech. We're seeing new rules that demand clarity. So, with all this smarter packaging, are we finally, truly on the verge of creating a smarter recycling system for all of us?